Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever stopped to actually notice how often we just fall back on the exact same generic vocabulary day in and day out? You've probably been using the word run your entire life to describe, well, pretty much any kind of fast movement. But here's the secret. English has incredibly rich, highly specific alternatives that can instantly elevate how you communicate. So today, our goal is super simple. We're going to permanently upgrade your vocabulary by replacing that one boring word with 17 dynamic, highly specific synonyms. Let's get right into it.
Seriously, I want you to genuinely think about this for a second. How many times have you said or typed the word run today? Like, oh, I have to run to the store, or I'm running late, or the dog was running around. It's a massive crutch word, isn't it? Sure, it gets the job done, but it paints an incredibly dull picture. By the end of this explainer, we are completely ditching this boring vocabulary habit. You won't just tell people someone is moving fast, you're going to be able to show them exactly how they're moving.
To make this super easy to remember, we've structured our 17 words into 4 distinct categories based on their intent. We'll look at fast and explosive, casual and steady, escaping and fleeing, and finally, unique and vivid.
Starting off with category number 1, fast and explosive. This is the absolute top of our speed scale.
Okay, let's dive into this. These aren't words for a leisurely jog. They demand oxygen, power, and immediate forward momentum. When we look at explosive bursts of speed, there are subtle but absolutely crucial differences in intensity. Notice how sprint is literally maxed out at 100% on our scale. It's the absolute peak of human acceleration. Right behind it at 90% is race, which implies sustained high-level speed but usually over a slightly longer distance. And at 85%, we've got dash. A dash is quick, it's sudden, but maybe not quite as physically demanding as a full-out sprint.
To really cement the difference here, let's look at these mini scenarios. She sprinted to catch the bus. Now, sprinting is a short, desperate, explosive burst. You sprint when the doors are literally closing and you have exactly 5 seconds to make it or you're stuck. Now, compare that to, they race to the finish line. Racing is competitive speed. You aren't just moving fast, you're specifically moving fast to beat someone or something else. See how the context completely shifts the word you should choose?
And that brings us to another fantastic explosive word, bolt. A bolt is a sudden, explosive departure. Just picture this perfectly. The dog bolted out of the gate. It implies that you're totally stationary 1 millisecond and moving at absolute top speed the very next. It's almost instinctual. Like a person might dash across a busy road to avoid traffic, but a startled animal bolts. It's instantaneous.
Moving right along to category number 2, casual and steady. These are cool, sustainable movements.
So we're dropping much lower on our speed scale now to explore rhythm and endurance. These are words that imply sustainable, easy movement rather than panic or raw power. Look at the clear distinction here between jog and trot. Saying I jog in the park every morning implies an easy, relaxed, methodical pace for exercise. But look at trot. The boy trotted down the stairs. Trotting isn't just slow running, right? It has a specific verticality to it. It's bouncy. It consists of steady, light steps. A jog is flattened forward, whereas a trot has a distinct, joyful little bounce to it.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of my absolute favorite words in the English language, lope. Loping means moving with a long, bounding stride. The wolf loped silently through the forest. Do you see how incredibly different that is from an everyday casual jog? A jog is, short, choppy human steps on pavement. But a lope is majestic, it's silent, and it eats up massive amounts of ground with this smooth, rhythmic, bounding energy. It is just a gorgeous descriptive word.
All right, shifting gears to category 3, escaping and fleeing. This is all about the intent to get away.
These words kind of require a more hushed, urgent tone. Escaping and fleeing words aren't really about the biomechanics of speed, they're entirely about the intent to get away, to evade, and to hide from danger or discomfort. Let's break down these 3 highly specific escaping actions. First up, flee. Think of a massive crowd fleeing when it suddenly starts downpouring. Fleeing is usually a group movement away from a negative stimulus. Escape, like the thief escaping into the alley, implies successfully breaking free from confinement or pursuit. And then we have dart. Darting, like someone darting behind a brick wall to hide, is all about sudden, evasive geometry. It's a sharp, zigzagging motion specifically designed to break a line of sight.
Let's see how this builds when we actually shrink the scale of the movement. Scamper and Scurry are just fantastic for describing tiny, frantic motions. Look at Scamper. The mouse scampered across the kitchen floor. It sounds lightweight, fast, and honestly a little chaotic. Now compare that to scurry. She scurried to her seat before the teacher arrived. Scurrying carries a really subtle feeling of anxiety or a desire to just not be noticed. You scamper for fun or out of instinct, but you scurry when you're trying to stay out of trouble.
And finally, category number 4, unique and vivid. These are all about cinematic motion.
This is where your vocabulary becomes truly cinematic. These words paint a highly specific, instantly recognizable visual picture for the listener. Here are 5 spectacular, vivid verbs to finish out our list of 17. Gallop, charge, rush, hurtle, and zoom. When you use one of these words, you're literally telling the listener exactly how the air feels around the person moving. You're giving them specialized, dramatic ways to interpret fast motion.
Take gallop, for instance. The child galloped around the garden like a horse. You instantly know exactly what that looks like, right? It's playful. It mimics the natural, asymmetrical rhythm of an animal. You don't just run around a garden, you gallop when you're completely full of imagination and uncoordinated, joyful energy.
So the crucial point here is that context completely defines the motion. Contrast that playful gallop with charge. To charge is to run aggressively toward a specific target. The player charged towards the goal. You don't charge aimlessly. Charging implies weight, forward momentum, serious determination, and an impending collision. You're essentially a projectile locked onto a destination.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the word rush functions. I rush to finish my homework before dinner. Notice how no one is actually physically running here? Rush is a dynamic word that applies just as beautifully to the urgency of tasks and time management as it does to physical foot speed. It conveys a mental state of panic and speed, not just a physical one.
And for our final comparison today, let's look at hurtle versus zoom. The car hurtled down the highway. Hurtling implies heavy, dangerous, almost uncontrollable momentum. Honestly, it's frightening. But zoom, the kids zoomed past on their bicycles. Zoom is light, it's playful, it's comic book fast. It almost comes with its own sound effect built in. 2 things moving fast, but with 2 entirely different emotional weights.
So here's your next move to make sure this explainer actually sticks. Step 1, pick just one of these 17 dynamic words that we've covered today, whether it's lope, dart, or hurtle. Step 2, force yourself to use it in a conversation or a text message today instead of the word run. And step 3, if you want to keep upgrading your vocabulary with us, stick around, because next time we're tackling 20 brilliant synonyms for the word look.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've just broken down the subtle nuances between 17 entirely different ways to move quickly. Out of all these dynamic words, from the explosive bolt to the tiny, frantic scurry, which one surprised you the most? Which word made you suddenly realize you've been missing out on a perfectly descriptive image this whole time? Drop your answer in the comments and keep focusing on finding the exact right word for the moment. Thanks so much for learning with me today.